The newspaper has been a fixture in American society for more than 400 years. Now, in the early 21st century, the digital age has taken over. With the average American home in 2006 keeping a television set on for more than 8 hours a day, the newspaper is no longer the end-all, be-all of news and information. Today, news coverage is more than an article in a newspaper. It encompasses social media, television, videos, and radio. National newspapers have learned to adapt, turning to internet subscriptions in addition to their printed format. However, local newspapers seem to either thrive or crumble under the pressure. Many local newspapers continue to fold, but at least one newspaper has continued to thrive, the Waverly newspapers.
I think the most important thing is the connectedness that the Waverly paper has to the community. I think we specialize in hyper-local news. We generate local material, we look for local material, we ferret out local angles of other stories. And I think this would be, this is a very healthy recipe to make a newspaper indispensable for a community. I also think it helps that the paper has a long and storied history. Since 1856, there has always been a paper in this community. And I think with the support of the community and the service we provide in terms of informing the community about what's going on inside the community and outside it, I think we have managed to earn the trust and keep that trust for a long, long time.
In 2016, the Waverly Newspapers is celebrating its 160th anniversary. Since 1856, the Waverly Newspapers have served the Waverly community.
I think it's the commitment of the people that work here and the dedication, like what goes on behind the scenes to put out that product on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I think a lot of people don't understand how many hours we spend in here, not just in here, but out in the field. And then we come back in here and get to display a product for the entire community to read, twice a week. Relationships are one of the biggest things that you want to have as a journalist. So by building relationships, you build kind of a trust level, like a level of trust. And you want to have people trust you, because if not, you have no credibility.
Our subscribers and our readers are the reason that we're here, because of their wanting to come to our office and being involved in our paper. Again, it's a form.
I guess the main reason I continue to be is because it's a great way to keep up on local and also national news, and always a great way to kind of touch base and keep in touch with what's happening in the community, and the Waverly newspaper is a great way to do that.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with the diversity of information that we're able to receive from a small town paper. And Anelia is key in making sure that happens. And so the stories that we read and the articles that appear in the paper have such a wide range. It covers so many different topics that it's a very unique paper to this community. And I hope it never folds due to the digital age.
One woman is responsible for pushing the Waverly newspapers in the right direction, Anelia Dimitrova.
She's a teacher to us. She always says, do what you feel passionate about, which she does every single day, no matter if it's work-related or not. I mean, she's involved. She gets us excited about life, and I believe that's where our newspaper thrives, is because of that. She wants to be involved, and she wants to help promote us.
It takes a certain kind of person to keep a newspaper going, and Anelia is that person.
First would be teacher.
Demanding, driven.
Somewhat eccentric. In a good form.
Just kind of wild, and I love it.
Spirited, definitely.
Ambitious.
Enthusiastic. She definitely is a detective. She is curious.
Storyteller.
Historian.
Hardworking.
Excited. Passionate.
Fearless.
She's really determined.
Confident.
Loving.
Open.
A lover of people, just a great friend.
She's a very powerful woman, and she's very woman empowering.
There's so many words that you could use to describe her, but she's definitely compassionate.
Very compassionate. She's very caring.
Caring, passionate.
She's all of that.
Anelia has stayed with the Waverly newspapers over the years because there is simply nowhere else she would rather be.
To me, this is the biggest honor I could ever have. I'm not interested in working for CNN, although some of my material has made it all the way to CNN. Some of my videos for sure have. And I've also, like I said, reported for occasionally for other publications. I did a series of stories for the New York Daily News and other publications. But the question itself is very intriguing to me. A lot of people ask me this, and the assumption is that at the local level, readers are not worthy of having someone with education, or it's such an insignificant institution that people with more education need to aspire to go higher and higher. You should have committed good people working at local institutions. This community would not be what it is without the Waverly newspaper historically and even in the present day. And I do think that local people deserve the best, and I'm not saying I'm the best, I'm just saying they deserve educated, committed people. It's like going to the local hospital and having a great surgeon. I mean, some of these surgeons, just like me, they're believers. They want to stay there. They want to serve the people in the community they know. You have no idea how much more fulfilling my life is as a community journalist. And I'm just so happy that I'm here promoting the careers of young reporters like the people I have here.
Successful local newspapers have editors who go above and beyond the job description, but few have editors from Bulgaria.
I was the correspondent for a school newspaper, which in Bulgaria at the time, it wasn't just, you didn't have a school newspaper in a particular school because everything was centralized and everything was essentially approved and under the control of the Communist Party. So was this newspaper for high school students, and it was one newspaper for the entire country, one high school. So everybody got that same paper, everybody read the same paper in the entire country. And so it was my first assignment. It was very, very exciting. Everybody in the school read it. I just loved it. I just loved that I could do something, tell a story others didn't have access to. Just in general, I look at journalism as an opportunity to educate people. And first to educate yourself, because I think I'd be lying to you if I told you that I know everything about every single story I report on. I don't. So my first responsibility, my first job is to learn about an issue myself, and then turn around and tell the readers what I've learned.
Anelia is a natural leader. The infamous flood of 2008 is testament to that.
So it was June and it was 2008, and we knew that people, we had heard that the water was going to, kind of overflow, the river was going to overflow, there will be some water around town, and so all day long I went from, street to home, and just kind of took pictures and talked to people so we can have all these amazing shots, because I knew something historic was about to happen. I didn't know to what extent, and neither did anyone else. The next day there was nobody was able to get into town. The roads were cut off, and we had about 2 feet of water in this building, and everything we had was ruined. Everything. We kind of jokingly had, joked the night before, maybe we should put stuff on our desks, and thank God we did that, because everything that was not on our desk was gone. And so the next day we could do nothing about it, but then the following day, Clint Reese, who was a Wartburg graduate, and he was on his first job here, and Pat Reset, my sports editor at the time, they took a very complicated detour, eventually found their way here and they came in and salvaged our computers, like literally grabbed all of our computers and went back to my house, and we set up operation there. We kind of re-engineered the newsroom. I had never worked with a, you know, how to organize a network and how to make it all happen, but I did. I guess when you are absolutely in a mode of desperation, you do whatever you need to do to get it done. And so in my living room, we kind of very quickly rearranged the living room, pushed stuff out of the way so we can set up our desks there. And for the next month, that's exactly what we did. We reported to my house. Everybody reported to my house. We learned a lot about each other in such proximity and such stressful times. And I'm so proud of everybody who was part of this experience. Stephanie Abel also was a part of it, and as was Janelle. And all of us, Janelle Darst, and then, I'm sorry, Janelle Penny was a young reporter at the time. And all of us were, you know, I told everyone while this was going on, it was hard to think about the impact, because we were so pressured to think about the immediate deadlines, the immediate publication deadlines. How are we going to do this? We didn't have a lot to work with. How are we going to produce a paper? And at the time, I don't think we had, you know, cell phones, and you know, you still had to call people, but nobody was answering their calls because everything was flooded. Everyone was flooded, and so we really had to depend on each other quite a bit. And not only did we not miss a beat, not only did we not miss a newspaper deadline, but remember, we were also publishing the Cedar Falls paper as well. And then on top of that, we published a special section about the flood. I didn't ask anybody. I didn't even ask Rick. I was asking him this morning, did I ever ask you? Was it okay if I brought the staff here, if I brought the newspaper here? I don't think I ever asked him. And so this is exactly the place where it didn't look like this, but this is where the paper was produced for a whole month. The Cedar Falls Times and the Waverly newspapers, the two editions, the Waverly Democrat and the Bremer County Independent. So 3 papers were produced for an entire month here in this space. And once in a while, Rick would take a picture of us. We don't have very many pictures from that time, but we do have quite a, you know, enough to show what happened and kind of to illustrate how, you know, I know that the house looks big, but it's when you imagine having 5 or 6 people here, plus their computer stations, it gets very, very small very quickly. And I think the best part is that you never complained about this, never said a word. We enable each other.
Don't worry about the small stuff.
Yeah.
With the news and media industries changing, reinvention and adaptation is required from everyone, even the Waverly newspapers.
Right now we're moving into the digital world, and with that we're taking our subscribers with us. Our subscriber rate for digital has definitely gone up. Print definitely is changing. I believe people still like to have the feel of the newspaper in their hands, but as our subscribers start moving south in the winter time, they're actually receiving their digital copies.
Our newspaper thrives through, we're constantly trying to do more stuff with digital, videos, Facebook, social media, anything like that to get, well, I would say my generation more involved.
I think Waverly Newspapers does a good job of working with the community, and it is that community aspect. It's not just you give us the stories and we'll write them. It's we'll go out and find the stories, and the stories are part of the community. I think we don't just do newspapers. Anelia's adopted the videos and things that are more tech related, things that are going to evolve. There are still people that read the newspaper, and if you have connections to things that aren't just newspaper related, you have the videos, you have a website, you have things that bring in younger generations, things that kids enjoy too. they will appreciate. And I think we're doing a very good job of incorporating all that stuff.
The Waverly newspaper's future continues to shine brightly, with Anelia leading the way.
If you watch one of her videos, at the very end, it says, you know, from the iRoving reporter that lives her beat. She lives what she does.
From my perspective, I feel like I'm right where I'm supposed to be, because it gives me incessant joy, like daily joy, not just on the weekends, not just when I have a good story, or not just when I have a good day. Even at the worst, at the most stressful of times, and at the most humiliating moments of my career as a journalist, and believe me, there have been many of those. I feel honored to be a community journalist. I don't want to go to CNN. I don't want to go anywhere else.
The Waverly newspapers continue staying above the fold.